Could you find it here in our MSA starter?
Well, that unfortunately doesn't describe when you guys shouted down a Muslim who was condemning terrorism on this campus.
Sir, so is that a no?
And the answer,
is that a no?
If you're not affiliated with the national, that's fine.
No, we're not affiliated with anyone.
All right.
Aside from these Muslim students that are sitting here.
You don't go to their conferences or anything?
Absolutely not.
All right, that's fine.
So that's a no then?
That's a no.
It's a no. What? It's not a no that you shouted down. I mean,
Would you like to have
you've held an Islamic Awareness Week.
No.
Hello, Mr. Horowitz. I'm pretty sure you know my article. It's the one that you cited in the, whatever it was. I'm Brendan LaFranchi. I'm the one who wrote the article about 2 weeks ago. I started off saying that I am Christian. I agree with several of your aspects about, infantry of the world does not have to be conscripted infants, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, you went around this prospect of trying to convert us to drink your Kool-Aid in a completely wrong manner. And to you saying that you did not make an accusation to our MSA that it is not a radical political group, cited in Nexus today, it says, in fact, the MSA is a radical political group that was founded by members of the Muslim Brotherhood, the Godfather of Al-Qaeda.
That's the Muslim Students Association. I noticed there are about, maybe 50 people in here identifying with the Muslim Students Association. I haven't heard one condemn people who want to kill me because I am a Jew. And until that happens, I am not changing my attitude towards this group. That's simple. You understand that? Pardon? Which people? Hezbollah? Yes. And who are you also?
My name is Elliot Bazzano. I'm a PhD student in the Religious Studies Department and a member of the Muslim Student Association.
Right.
And the comment I want to make, which I am responding to your question, probably not in the way you'd like, is Bill O'Reilly was on David Letterman one night, and something very insightful took place. Let me finish, please. He said, David Letterman, do you want us to win the war on terrorism? And Letterman took a second. Bill O'Reilly said, just answer it, yes or no. It's a simple question. And he said, well, no, it's not, if you're thoughtful. And the reason I think this is important, Mr. Horowitz, and I also think it's important to have opposing viewpoints at this school, and I thank you for taking part in that. And let me finish, I'll be brief. Give me 15 more seconds, please. Is by answering your questions, saying, do you want to condemn Hezbollah, yes or no? Is Hamas terrorist, yes or no? These are complex issues, sir.
No, they're not.
And
By
asking us to put them in a very small box that you are creating for us, you're creating an artificial environment to respond to something that we may not have, that we clearly do not have the same perspective about. And it's a very unfair power dynamic that you're asking us to respond to on the spot in a very small, news clip kind of response. We're constantly writing long papers and responding in sophisticated intellectual ways, and which is a lot different from the kind of news bite response you want. And I apologize for going over 15 seconds. That wasn't my original.
What do you think of David Duke?
Excuse me?
David Duke, you know the name?
Yes, I'm familiar with the name. He's affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan.
He was when he was younger. He's a racist. Well, can you condemn a racist?
I don't understand what you're asking.
Well, I don't think those are complex questions. Hezbollah is dedicated to death to Americans. That's pretty much everybody in this room. Condemn it? Hard? Difficult? Complex?
Mr. Horowitz, my question for you is, I cited in my article to the Nexus certain aspects of my life, and I will not sign your petition. Does that make me a terrorist?
No.
Then how come you're doing that to our MSA association?
I'm not. I've been waiting for one Muslim in this room to condemn an organization which is sworn to kill Americans and kill Jews. That's not too hard. One. Is there one here?
No.
No, there isn't. So I rest my case. Let's have another question.
My name is Nader Honorbar, and I'm a law and society major, and I just wanted to say firstly that I think it was very wrong of you to pass such a blanket judgment against that man who was wearing the turban or the scarf. I'm sorry, I don't know. It was very wrong coming from a person, if you are from academia, am I right? You come from the academic world?
No.
No, you publish.
I tell you, the academic...
Well, can
I publish books about the academic world, and I have a very low opinion of many academics, with good reason, as demonstrated by the professor who invited me and then I guess disinvited me.
My main point here is that I just think...
You want me to have respect for that?
No, I want you to have respect for a person's individual life. I don't think you are in the right to come here and pass such a judgment. I mean, we're all subjective. I don't believe in objectivity. I think we all are subjective. But I don't think that you should be passing these blanket judgments without knowing. I mean, this person in law society...
He comes up in front of me, is wearing a terrorist scarf, honoring a monster who will go down in the history of the Palestinian people as one of the worst things that ever happened to them, and who will not condemn Jew haters and Jew killers, and you tell me that I'm making snap judgments? Come on.
I think you're getting beyond the point. I think what I want to
ask,
sir,
spent too many years in the university, and it's kind of glued up your brain.
Okay, listen to me. Listen to me very carefully, sir. What I want to ask you is, I think fundamentalism is tantamount to indoctrination. So when you come in here making a point about Islamic fundamentalism, there's Christianity fundamentalism too, as evidenced in the Ku Klux Klan, as well as in other religions that I'm not aware of. My question to you is, why do you come here to establish something beyond the norm in terms of informing these people that religion has to be distinguished from fundamentalism? Is that what you're saying?
I had a discussion like that. The Ku Klux Klan is a very good analogy for the Muslim Brotherhood. That's what they are.
So why don't you criticize them? Why don't you bring these other manifestations of fundamentalism into the picture rather than just one? Why do you homogenize it to one group? It has to be a holistic account of everything, am I right?
No.
And I understand your feeling.
You're not right. You make distinctions. You know, read Lawrence Wright's The Leaning Tower. It's a non-political book. It's a history of the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda and Hamas and all these organizations. Next, please.
The premise for a lot of your argument was that a lot of women are being suppressed in these Arab nations, and the only way that we found ways to keep peace in Afghanistan, where we were only holding down Kabul and maybe 15% of the... We're basically helping the other Iraqi militants keep Sharia law. So I kind of find that un-American that our troops have only found a way to establish peace in another country. There's no Monroe Doctrine, there's no rebuilding, there's nothing like that. We're basically putting them back, we're basically putting these countries back into Sharia law. Like, so I find that completely false.
We didn't have a lecture tonight about Iraq, so you know it's an interesting argument.
It's Afghanistan. It's all of it.
Well, it wasn't. You know,
liberating brown women.
Right, this is all irrelevant. So go ahead. Next. Not really. I mean, you want me to go into a history of the Iraq War and the role that the left and the Democratic Party has played in tying our hands so that we are.
It was on your poster. That was what was on your poster, and we haven't done anything.
Well, I didn't have enough time. I didn't want to, yeah, like you would have enjoyed being listening to me for 2 hours instead of 1. I don't think so. Go ahead.
I would like to ask you to please actually listen and respond to these questions. You've been talking over the questioners, and yet your people...
Geez, I had the opposite impression.
Hey, excuse me, your people kick out us when we do that to you. So why should you not be kicked out for doing exactly the same to us? I understand your desire to shut me up. It was evident before I ever arrived on this campus, and you know, why shouldn't you find another way to express it? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Imani Gillian, and I'm a PhD student at UCSB. I'm Iranian, and I want to thank you for all your hard work that you're doing for coming here to this hostile territory and doing all this good free publicity for these minorities, because these people have been represented by their worst and they don't have many allies. So I just want to thank you for doing that. And if you ask me, yes, I do condemn every breed of terrorism: Muslim, Christian, Jewish, communist, you name it. I condemn all of them.
Pardini, and I am a first-year business economics major. I have a two-part question. My first part of my question is, to what extent does the recent move political correctness affect the whole Islamofascism movement and the Muslim Student Association as a whole? And my second part of my question is, I was wanting to appear on my podcast sometime later, Rational Rants with Pardini.
What party is it?
My online radio show. It's a podcast, Rational Rants with Nick Pardini, where I talk about politics and societal issues.
I think political correctness, unfortunately, has been with us for over a quarter of a century, and I prefer to refer to it as the party line. It's the line that leftists, who unfortunately dominate sections of our liberal arts colleges and our media, enforce. So, as I said earlier, it prevents you from using a term like Islamofascism, although Islamofascism is a perfect description of Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and Hezbollah.
Hello, sir. My name is Naveed, and I'm a sociology major. I just had a few questions about your history. Now, when you said that the fight in Afghanistan and Iraq is for the souls of Muslims, I always thought it was a fight for oil. And then also, when you mentioned that we didn't support the Shah as much, I always thought the Shah was put in power after a political coup by the CIA when there was a democracy. And isn't it true that the U.S. supported the Taliban, or what they call the Mujahideen? And, you know, Osama was our boy back then, and we wanted to fight against, you know, Khomeini, so we made a little general called Saddam Hussein our boy. So I always thought rather than the swords, it was all about oil. Would you say that? I may be wrong, but...
You are wrong. You are wrong. Since the oil is owned by the Arabs anyway, the United States, if it wanted the oil of Iraq in the first Gulf War, could have just smashed well, we did. We smashed the Republican Army. They could have overthrown Saddam, and we could have taken the oil. But you said you're a sociology major. Unfortunately, the sociology department is dominated by brain-dead leftists, not only on this campus, but many, and they are reactionaries. So they think in 19th century terms. It is absolutely true, as I said, that Iraq was created by the imperialists to divide up the oil. This happens to be the 21st century, and that is not what motivates the United States, and that's not why we are in Iraq. The United States, just a second.
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
If you read Lawrence Wright's book, you will find that Osama bin Laden was a rather pathetic figure in Afghanistan. The United States did not fund Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. No, it didn't. Read Lawrence Wright's book. Read 10 books. It's just a flaw. It's just wait. You asked me. You know, I'm answering your question. It's part of the mythology of the left, which is a very large and elaborate mythology that we created Osama bin Laden. But the fact of the matter is that by supporting the Mujahideen and defeating the Soviet Empire, we liberated 1 billion people across the world, and that was worth it. And Osama bin Laden would have been dead long ago if Bill Clinton had focused on killing him instead of his golf game.